Credit card roadmaps at this point are a key staple within the credit card niche here on YouTube for obvious reasons of providing guidelines on how you should optimize your own credit card roadmap and pursue credit cards in the order that you need to fulfill your goals. Whether it's something like earning as much cash back as possible or pursuing aspirational trips via points, there's a credit card roadmap for everyone. And today I thought it'd be fun to ask ChatGPT to create an optimized credit card roadmap for someone who wants to pursue aspirational trips via points, and then give my own opinions on how good or how bad the recommendations are. So the template I asked ChatGPT, and I'm curious if it gives the same answers to everyone, so I'll leave it down in the comment section down below of this video, is imagine you're 18 and want to build out a credit card roadmap to ensure that you can guarantee free travel via credit card points in the future. How would you go about prioritizing and focusing on specific credit cards that will help ensure you reach your goal? And after a few moments, ChatGPT started spinning its gears. ChatGPT started saying, thinking like an 18-year-old starting from zero, the goal isn't just get points, it's to build a long-term system that reliably turns everyday spending into free flights and hotels. The biggest mistake people make is jumping straight to the flashy premium cards. The real strategy is sequence, ecosystems, and credit building. And I tend to agree with this sentiment. People ask all the time what the best credit card to get without necessarily having the solid foundation in order to get them. I've had plenty of instances where people immediately went for the shiniest credit card like the American Express Platinum card just because it looked cool without any fallback on what the overall goal of why you wanted that specific credit card in the first place. ChatGPT then writes, for the core strategy, ChatGPT lists 5 key points to focus on. Number 1, building credit first so that you can qualify for premium cards later on, which is actually a top tier recommendation, as premium credit cards like the Chase Sapphire Reserve or the American Express Platinum card do have minimum credit score requirements. Number 2, picking 1 to 2 transferable points ecosystems. Number 3, earn points efficiently on everyday spending. Number 4, unlock big welcome bonus offers over time. And number 5, redeem smartly. Honestly, all great points. I agree with all 5 points. You definitely want to prioritize starting small, meaning picking an ecosystem and sticking with it before testing out another. The worst thing you could possibly do is end up with like 15 different credit cards with a hand in each ecosystem and diversify way too quickly and too wide to the point where you can't redeem your points anywhere because you've earned a tiny bit in each one. Now let's see the actual credit card recommendations for someone who wants to prioritize free travel. And as a keynote, before we dive deeper, is that not everyone watching this video is starting from absolute zero, and that's perfectly fine. Even if you're on, let's say, your 4th, 5th, or even 10th credit card, the glory of a credit card roadmap is that it's not set in place to shame you. It's a guideline, it's a map, it's a roadmap to get you back on track. Let's deep diver. So for someone who is just starting, ChatGPT recommends that you should prioritize student or beginner credit cards or even secured credit cards if needed, with 2 examples being the Discover It Student Cashback or the Capital One Quicksilver Student. The focus is to keep utilization low at 30%, never miss a payment, and keep accounts open forever to build your credit score portfolio and have the overall goal be a 700 plus credit score within 12 to 18 months. All great points, and I agree with about 95% of what ChatGPT has said. The 5% is that I don't agree with is having to discover a cashback credit card and the Quicksilver Capital Ones for students being the 2 key example cards to pursue. The Discover It Student Cashback, I do agree with. It's most likely going to be your most accessible credit card if you're just starting out. I've rarely heard stories of people being rejected when applying for that one, and it's probably the most popular student or beginner credit card out there. The other one, however, the Quicksilver, I would replace with something like the Capital One Saver for students instead, a tremendous $0 annual fee card that earns 3% on grocery stores, dining, entertainment, and popular streaming services, all categories that a student is most likely to prioritize in college. For those looking for a secured credit card, Discover does have a secured version as well, and Capital One does have a card called the Capital One Platinum Secured, which is most known for having a low deposit requirement. Moving on to phase 2, which ChatGPT calls entering the point ecosystem is having your first major move be getting into the Chase ecosystem early because of the 524 rule, with the priority card being the Chase Sapphire Preferred, and then pairing it up with the Chase Freedom Flex and the Chase Freedom Unlimited. And the reason behind this move is the huge welcome bonus offer offered on the Chase Sapphire Preferred, unlocking points that are transferable to United and Hyatt, and an overall low annual fee. Additionally, stating that the Chase Trifecta is one of the strongest beginner setups in the entire ecosystem. And while I would have agreed with this part of ChatGPT's credit card roadmap about 2 to 3 years ago, I can't wholeheartedly agree that this is the most optimal strategy to take anymore, especially if you're still new to the whole credit card ecosystem. And that's mainly because, in my honest opinion, Chase as a lender now sucks. The biggest reason for that is that Hyatt, one of the sole reasons why Chase remains competitive amongst credit card lenders for value in terms of aspirational travel, is going to devalue their program heavily in May. In a term Max Miles Points calls dynamic pricing light, which is essentially means the end times are coming for Hyatt as the most valuable hotel transferable currency. Without going into too much detail, as this isn't the main focus of this video, Hyatt is devaluing some top tier hotels categories and increasing award redemptions by something ridiculous like 40 to 60%. Because of this, Hyatt points aren't going to be as valuable anymore, and Chase shouldn't be your number one priority anymore. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that Chase doesn't still have value. It's still okay to prioritize Chase first in some regard. Hyatt Hotels does still retain some value, but just isn't as valuable anymore. Due to this, it does kind of open the door to decision paralysis, as there isn't really a clear-cut number one priority anymore in terms of which ecosystem you should prioritize first. Chase is still good in terms of some hotel redemptions, as Hyatt isn't losing all of its value all at once. So if you want to prioritize award redemptions around hotels, Chase may still be your number one option here in terms of ecosystems to complete first. If you're more of a fan of getting good award redemption value on flights instead, the City ecosystem with the City Strata Premier, City Double Cash, and the City Custom Cash may be your number one priority, as they have an exclusive partnership with American Airlines, one of the last domestic airline and honestly international airline partners that can still get you extremely good redemption value for business and main cabin flights. Capital One is another credit card ecosystem that does get talked about a lot, but unlike Chase or Citi, they don't necessarily have an exclusive partnership with any program. It is an extremely simple ecosystem to complete, as it only needs 2 major credit cards from the ecosystem to complete it, those being the Capital One Venture X and the Capital One Saver. And it is one of the simplest setups that has great upside benefits without necessarily having those unnecessary headaches that some ecosystems may cause by having what I like to call a coupon book. The major guideline I'd recommend when prioritizing and completing your first credit card ecosystem, depending on what your priorities are. As I'm looking at each now, it kind of looks like you're picking your first starter Pokemon with Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur, but the main recommendation is to complete the no annual fee ones first, meaning the likes of the Chase Freedom Flex or the Chase Freedom Unlimited for Chase, the City Double Cash or City Custom Cash for Citi, and the Capital One Saver for the Capital One, before applying for the annual fee cards within your respective ecosystem. Moving on to phase 3, ChatGPT calls this step maximize points earning and recommends adding a premium travel credit card with the likes of the Capital One Venture X or the American Express Platinum card. And the reason behind it is that more welcome bonuses equal more free trips, and having different transfer partners means better flight options. And I agree with what ChatGPT has laid out here. Once you've completed your first credit card ecosystem, whether it be the Chase Trifecta, Citi Trifecta, or something else, diversifying your credit card lineup with another ecosystem is advantageous in many ways, but the 2 main ways are opening up access to more transfer partners and also opening up pipelines to funnel in more points from different sources to the same transfer partners, because they just so happen to span across multiple lenders, such as Aeroplane Air Canada, which has partnerships with American Express, Capital One, Chase, and Bilt. Additionally, opening up access to more transfer partners means that specific credit card points can now be prioritized for specific things. For instance, for my own personal setup, I have the Chase Trifecta, which mainly prioritizes its points redemptions on Hyatt hotels while I still can. And I also have Capital One and American Express, whose main priorities is redeeming its points on flights. Furthermore, getting a premium travel credit card is an opportunity to access higher levels of what people like to call luxury travel in terms of airport lounge access, key memberships, and statuses that beginner credit cards tend to not have. Moving on to phase 4, which is the last phase for ChatGPT, and that's optimization and free travel engine. ChatGPT states this is where it starts to feel like cheating. It shows that your setup at this point may look like this, which has the Chase Trifecta, those being the Chase Sapphire Preferred, Chase Freedom Flex, and the Chase Freedom Unlimited, one premium lounge credit card, those being either the Platinum card or the Venture X, and maybe one hotel credit card, which comes from either Hyatt or Marriott. And at this point, you open cards strategically for bonuses, which you should be doing every step of the way. You also rotate spending categories and redeem for high value flights. Now, obviously, you don't have to follow the recommendations of what ChatGPT says to the T. For instance, I have followed a similar path with my own credit cards. I had the Chase Trifecta, but with a little tweak to it. I have the Chase Sapphire Preferred, Chase Freedom Flex, and the Chase Ink Business Unlimited because they had a better welcome bonus offer. The key point here being I open cards strategically for bonuses. Next, I have the Capital One Venture X and the American Express Platinum card, which serves as my premium lounge credit cards, but according to ChatGPT, I do technically only need one. I don't like this step as there are hidden rules with American Express, which I've actually seen in person having trapped some people, and it's that I would never recommend going straight for the American Express Platinum card, as American Express's terms of service has a ladder rule in place. That ladder rule is that you are not eligible for the gold or green cards welcome bonus offers if you go for the platinum card immediately, which completely derails point number 1 that ChatGPT just stated. At this point, open cards strategically for bonuses. Never open up the platinum card first. At the bare minimum, open up the gold card first and then the platinum card. True credit card enthusiasts would open up the green card first and then go for the gold and then the platinum for the most efficient point earning strategy. I personally went with the bare minimum route as I didn't want the green card, so that's why I actually have the gold and the platinum card, getting the gold card first and then getting the platinum card. On the other hand, I also have the Capital One Duo, which consists of the Capital One Venture X and the Capital One Saver. And the reason I still have this setup is for the additional benefits that the Venture X offers, but also because at this point in time, having the Capital One Duo is a no annual fee setup, as the Venture X has credits that completely offset the $395 annual fee. So there's no technical reason why I can't have the Venture X within my setup. Plus, my home base airport is Washington, D.C.'s IAD airport, which is home to a Capital One airport lounge. And last but not least, I do have a hotel credit card, but not one by Hyatt or Marriott. I actually have the Hilton Honor Surpass card, which is a Hilton credit card. The main reason why I have it is that I travel a bit for work and do tend to stay at Hilton properties when I'm away from home. And having a hotel specific credit card means that I can maximize on earning Hilton points whenever I go on these work trips. Having the Hilton Surpass card, which is a $150 annual fee card and gives automatic Hilton Gold status, means that during my work trips, the hotels that I book with the card earn me 18 points per dollar I spend, and I get additional benefits like a $50 quarterly hotel credit that helps offset the $150 annual fee and the daily food and beverage credits that I can use at the hotels I'm staying at. Plus, while some may think that having gold status wouldn't be enough for upgrades as it is advertised, having the status internationally has proven to be extremely advantageous, as I was upgraded to a better room during my stay at the Waldorf Astoria in Osaka, Japan. But enough of me bragging, let's get back to the topic of this video and give ChatGPT a score. In terms of a credit card roadmap, I would give ChatGPT a solid B. It gave some pretty good suggestions, but I personally think it missed the mark in some areas. For instance, the American Express Platinum card and its ladder rule within the terms of service that it failed to mention. Obviously, you should never put your attention on one single outlet or media, which is why I personally like to go through multiple channels when creating and adjusting my own credit card roadmap. And I highly recommend everyone do the same. Roadmaps aren't necessarily going to be the same for each person, as interests and priorities are different. different, but as ChatGPT has stated with the last part called critical rules, you should never carry interest, don't chase too many ecosystems, welcome bonuses over everyday spend, and protect your credit. And that just about wraps it up for this video. What do you think about the suggestions that ChatGPT gave? If you want another video to watch, make sure to watch this video that's especially curated by YouTube as a recommendation. Thank you so much for watching as always. Talk to you in the next one. Peace.